Peak English Podcast.
From Peak English with Class. And I literally told my entire family, my neighbors, and the guy who delivers my packages that I was going to run a half marathon.
Please tell me you at least bought running shoes.
Oh, I bought the shoes, Alex. I bought the high-tech socks. I bought a fancy water bottle. I even made a custom 3-hour playlist. And you know how many times I actually went running?
Let me guess. Knowing you, 0.
Absolute 0. I got so much praise just for saying I was going to do it that my brain felt like I had already crossed the finish line. People were clapping for me in the comments of my social media post. I basically retired from my athletic career before I even stretched.
It feels so good in the moment, right? We just want that little hit of approval. But honestly, if you're listening to this right now, maybe you're sitting on the bus, staring out the window, or maybe you're hiding from your boss in the break room, we see you. And if you have a big dream that you've been talking about endlessly, but not actually starting, you are definitely in the right place today.
Welcome back to Peak English, your cozy place to learn easy English through real conversations. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Alex. Today, we are tackling a really strange paradox. Why does talking about our grand plans actually drain the energy we need to execute them? We're going to share a surprising, slightly uncomfortable solution: how to work completely in silence, and why your results should be the only thing doing the talking.
I really need this episode today. But before we get into it, I have to let you guys know what's coming up. Later in the show, we'll do our word tour to break down some of the best vocabulary from today's chat.
And near the very end, we've got our Say It Better segment, where we take those slightly awkward sentences you might be using to talk about your goals and upgrade them so you sound completely natural in English.
Exactly. Oh, and a quick reminder for our friends listening all over the world. This is a relaxed B1, B2 level episode, so if we use a phrase or an idiom that you don't instantly recognize, please don't stress. Just keep floating along with the conversation. You can always hit rewind or check the transcript later.
Just like Sarah hitting the snooze button instead of running that marathon.
Hey, I ran in my dreams. It counts. Speaking of our listeners, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us, I'm your name from your country, and today I feel... Let us know how you're really doing today. No fake smiles required.
I'll start. I'm Alex, and today I feel, well, comfortable, because I'm wearing my favorite white-gray hoodie, as usual.
You wear that hoodie like it's a second skin, Alex. I don't think I've seen you in a real jacket since 2022.
It is an essential part of my productivity strategy, Sarah. Don't question the hoodie.
Okay, so let's get into this whole idea of staying quiet. I have a really bad habit. Whenever I get a spark of an idea, like starting a new business project or even just reorganizing my entire apartment, I feel this burning urge to text my friends immediately. It's like I physically cannot hold the thought inside my head.
Yeah, I used to be the exact same way. A few years ago, I decided I wanted to write a short story. Not even a full book, just a story. And what did I do? I went out for coffee with 3 different people just to explain the plot to them.
Let me guess, you never actually wrote it.
Not a single word. And here's why our brains do this. When you tell people what you are going to do, your brain gets tricked. It creates an illusion of progress. Your friends nod, they smile, they tell you it's a brilliant idea. Your brain gets a rush of dopamine, that reward chemical, and it genuinely believes you have already accomplished the task.
Wait, really? So my brain literally thinks I already ran the marathon just because my mom said good for you, honey?
Exactly. You've already tasted the reward without doing the difficult work. The fire cools down. So, our first tiny habit is what I call guarding the seed.
Guarding the seed? Like a gardener?
Right. Think about planting a garden. You put a seed beneath the soil. You don't invite the entire neighborhood to come walk all over the dirt before the plant is even sprouted. You have to protect the ground. You have to water it in silence. You only invite people to see it after it emerges tall and strong.
That makes so much sense. If I tell everyone too early, I'm just letting them trample on my unsprouted seeds.
Exactly. So the habit is the next time you set a goal, write it down on a piece of private paper. Do not tweet it. Do not text it. Guard the seed for at least the first 30 days. Let the lack of attention force you to actually do the work.
Okay, but what if I really need someone to hold me accountable? If I don't tell anyone, how will I stay on track? Which brings me to my next struggle. Sometimes I share my goals because I genuinely want advice. But then the exact opposite happens. I told a coworker about a creative project I wanted to launch, and she immediately hit me with a list of reasons why it might fail. She wasn't being mean, she was just being realistic. But it completely killed my motivation.
Ah, the well-meaning advisors. They are everywhere. I had this happen when I first started learning how to edit audio. I mentioned it to an acquaintance, and he immediately said, "Oh, the market for that is way too saturated." I knew a guy who tried that and gave up.
Ouch, that hurts.
It does, and their skepticism just hangs in the air like a shadow. Even if you don't want to believe them, that shadow creeps into your own thinking. You start second-guessing yourself. You think, maybe they are right. Maybe my idea isn't that great.
And then there are the envious people, right? The ones who silently resent your ambition because it reminds them of what they haven't done.
Precisely, which brings us to the second tiny habit, selective silence.
So you don't mean we should isolate ourselves completely and never speak to another human being about our lives?
No, definitely not. Feedback is incredibly valuable, but it has to come at the right time and from the right people. Selective silence means you only share your early stage plans with mentors or extremely close confidants who genuinely want to see you succeed. And even then, keep the details minimal.
I love that. So instead of broadcasting it to 50 people on the internet, I just talk to one trusted person, and only if I actually need their specific help to move forward.
Right. It's about being intentional. When you limit the number of voices in your ear, you protect your focus. You aren't constantly getting distracted by unsolicited advice or dragged down by someone else's doubt. You give yourself the freedom to fail quietly, to experiment, and to figure things out without an audience judging your rough drafts.
Freedom to fail quietly. That sounds so peaceful. I always feel like if I announce something and it doesn't work out, I have to issue a public apology to everyone I told.
Which is exhausting. And it leads right into our final tiny habit for today's core conversation, the magic of momentum.
You know, talking about the freedom to fail quietly makes me think of something else. When I do tell people my plans, I feel like I suddenly have a second full-time job.
What do you mean?
I mean the job of constantly explaining myself. If I tell my friends I'm trying a new diet, every time we go out to dinner, they ask me 50 questions about it. Can you eat this? What about that? I read an article saying the diet is bad. It is exhausting. I spend more energy explaining the goal than actually doing it.
No, absolutely. Every moment you spend explaining yourself is a moment you are not moving forward. It's like trying to drive a car on the highway, but you keep pulling over every 5 minutes to show the passengers your map.
Yes, you lose all your speed. And worse, you just get annoyed and want to abandon the car on the side of the road.
That speed you are losing, that is exactly what we need to protect. Momentum is a precious thing. It is that forward motion you create when you take consistent daily action. And here is the secret. Momentum thrives in silence.
Because when you are silent, you just build a rhythm. You take a step, and then another step, and you don't have to justify it to anyone.
Exactly. I want to tell you a story about a guy I knew years ago. We'll call him David. David had this lifelong dream of writing a fantasy novel. For years, he was the guy who talked about his novel.
Oh, I know that guy. The one who always has a brilliant idea, but never a finished chapter.
Right. He would call me on a Tuesday night, talk for 2 hours about his magic system, ask for my opinion on his character names, and then nothing. Months would go by. The more he talked, the less he wrote. His project just fizzled out.
It just fizzled out? Like a firework that didn't explode, just sort of died?
Exactly, it slowly lost power and failed. But then David changed his strategy completely. A few years later, he decided to try again, but this time he went totally dark.
He didn't tell anyone? Not even you?
Nobody. Let me zoom into his actual process because he told me about it later. He was living in this tiny freezing apartment in Chicago. Every single morning, 5:30 a.m., before the sun was even up, he would sit at his wobbly kitchen table.
Ugh, early mornings. Just the thought of 5:30 a.m. makes me want to make a fresh pot of coffee.
You and your coffee. But listen, his raw thought every morning was just, I only need to write 500 words. He didn't think about publishing. He didn't think about being famous. He felt the cold air on his hands. He opened his laptop and he just typed.
No audience, no applause, just the work.
Just the work, day after day, in total silence. He didn't tweet about his word count. He didn't complain about writer's block on Facebook. He just built his track record.
That sounds so lonely, though. Was he okay?
He said it was the most liberating experience of his life. It freed him from the weight of our expectations. He wasn't operating under a spotlight anymore. He was operating on his own terms.
Wow. So, what is this third tiny habit called?
I call it building silent momentum. Instead of spending your energy seeking approval, you channel all that energy into taking the very first step. Quietly. Deliberately.
I love that word. Deliberately. Doing something on purpose, with full focus. So, what happened to David's book?
9 months later, he invited me and a few friends to a diner. He slid a printed 300-page manuscript across the table.
No way. Just out of nowhere?
Completely out of nowhere. We were in pure shock, and honestly, pure admiration. We were so impressed, not just because he wrote a book, but because he had the discipline to do it without constantly asking us to validate him.
Which leads perfectly into something I've been thinking about. The sheer power of dropping a finished project on the table. You know, if you are listening to us right now, maybe you're washing the dishes or walking your dog, and you're thinking, but Sarah, I want people to be proud of me. I get it. I am the queen of wanting a gold star.
A gold star for doing the bare minimum.
Hey, buying running shoes takes effort. But seriously, I realize now that when I announce a plan, I am asking for cheap early applause. The applause you get for finishing something is so much louder.
It is a completely different kind of impact. When you unveil a finished product, a completed goal, a new skill, a physical object, the impact is far greater than if you had been dropping hints and previews the whole time.
It's the element of surprise. People marvel at it because it seemingly came out of nowhere.
Exactly. There's a famous story from the business world, often told by motivational speakers, about a farmer in the Midwest. He had a vision to turn his very small, struggling family farm into a massive, thriving enterprise.
Let me guess. He didn't go around the town bragging about his future wealth.
Nope, he just got to work. While the other farmers were at the local cafe complaining about the weather and talking about what they wished they could do, he was at home. He read books, he studied successful agricultural techniques, and he quietly implemented them.
He let his results do the talking.
Yes, he didn't need a stage. When harvest season came, the town was shocked. The quality and the quantity of his crops were unmatched. When people finally asked him, "How did you do it?" he just smiled and said, "By working when no one was watching."
By working when no one was watching. That hits hard. So our fourth tiny habit is
The element of surprise. Let your success be the thing that introduces you. Results are your absolute best advertisement.
it really proves that action breeds confidence, while too much talking just breeds hesitation.
And doubt. Remember, the world is full of noise, distractions, opinions, unsolicited advice. They are everywhere. When you speak too freely, you invite that noise directly into your living room.
You open the door to criticism. Sometimes I tell people things and they respond with, "Are you sure that's a good idea? Sounds a bit risky." And instantly the seed of doubt is planted in my brain.
Doubt is a dangerous weed. It grows so fast, and it can choke the roots of your ambition. So protect the garden. Stay quiet. Let the results shock them.
Okay, this has been a really deep dive today. I feel like I need to go delete all my social media posts about my future plans right now.
Just put down the phone, Sarah. Let's do a quick, warm recap for everyone listening. If you've been taking notes in your head, here is your summary.
First, we have guarding the seed. Treat your new goals like fragile plants. Don't let the world walk all over them before they have a chance to grow. Keep it on a private piece of paper for the first 30 days.
Second, selective silence. You don't have to be a total hermit, but only share your plans with the rare people who actually nurture your growth, not the ones who constantly question your abilities.
Third, building silent momentum. Don't waste your energy explaining your journey to passengers. Keep driving. Find the rhythm of doing the daily work without needing a daily gold star.
And finally, the element of surprise. Trust that your results will be the ultimate proof. Work when no one is watching and let your finished product do all the talking.
I love it. Sometimes it's rest, sometimes it's silence, and sometimes it's just doing the work while the rest of the world is making noise.
All right, we have reached one of my favorite parts of the show. It's time for Say It Better.
This is where we take the clumsy, slightly unnatural sentences that English learners often use when talking about this topic, and we upgrade them so you sound like a native speaker.
Exactly. Let's say you have a big project at work, and your coworker is being very nosy, asking you a million questions about your plans. A learner might say something very direct like, I do not want to tell you my plan.
Very robotic and a little aggressive. If you want to keep your plans private but still sound polite and professional, you could say, I'm keeping things under wraps for now.
Oh, I like that. Under wraps. It means hidden or secret. Or you could say, I'm still figuring out the details, so I'd rather not say much yet.
That's a great one. It deflects the question beautifully. Okay, how about this one? A learner wants to express that they are working hard in secret. They might say, I am working very quietly so no one sees.
A bit suspicious. It sounds like you are committing a crime in your office. Instead, you could say, I'm just keeping my head down and doing the work.
Keeping my head down. That is such a native phrase. It means staying focused and avoiding distractions or drama. You could also say, I'm working behind the scenes on a few things.
Perfect. It sounds professional, but mysterious. Okay, last one. Let's say you finally finished the project, and you want to express the idea that your work is the proof. A learner might say, my good result will show you I am good.
A bit clunky. Let's make it punchy. You could simply say, I prefer to let my results speak for themselves.
Classic. Or, if you want a slightly more casual idiom, the proof is in the pudding.
I always get hungry when you use that one. But yes, it means the true value or success of something can only be judged by the final result.
Welcome to the Word Tour. This is the part of the show where we take a closer look at the vocabulary we use today.
We picked out 7 fantastic words and phrases from our conversation. These are the kinds of words that take you from sounding like a textbook to sounding like you've lived in an English-speaking country for years.
Let's start with our first word, illusion. Il-lu-jeune. Illusion.
I love how this word sounds. An illusion is something that looks or feels real, but it actually isn't. It's a trick on your brain. Earlier, Alex said that telling people your plans creates an illusion of progress.
Right. You haven't actually done the work, but your brain feels like you have. Let's put this into a daily life context. Imagine you buy a massive stack of thick, heavy books on a Sunday afternoon. You put them on your desk. You look at them, and you feel incredibly smart. But you haven't opened a single page.
Stop attacking me, Alex. I have 5 unread books on my nightstand right now.
That is the illusion of productivity, Sarah. You could say, having a clean desk gives me the illusion that I have my life together. Or think about social media. People's perfectly edited photos create an illusion of a perfect life.
That is so true. Sometimes it's a filter on a photo, sometimes it's a smile that hides a bad day, and sometimes it's just the feeling that talking is the exact same thing as doing. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. Illusion.
Great. Let's move to word number 2. Validation. Val, I, day, done. Validation.
This is a heavy one. Validation is that warm, comforting feeling you get when other people approve of you, or when they confirm that your feelings are normal and acceptable. We humans crave validation. We want to be told we are doing a good job.
We really do. I remember a few years ago, I was sitting in my old apartment, right on the edge of this terribly uncomfortable green sofa. I had just posted my very first audio recording online, and I remember my raw thoughts in that exact moment. I kept refreshing the page. Is anyone listening? Does anyone care? My stomach was tied in knots. I physically felt this tightness in my chest. Finally, someone left a comment saying, "This was really helpful."
And you could finally exhale.
Exactly. I sighed out loud and said to the empty room, "Okay, I'm not crazy." That one little comment was pure validation.
Here are 2 ways you might use it in your life. You could say, I don't need my boss's validation to know I worked hard today. Or, if a friend is crying and you just listen to them without judging, you could say, sometimes people don't want advice. They just want validation. Now it's your turn. Repeat after me. Validation.
Beautifully done. Our third word is an action word. Execute. X-E-cute. Execute.
Now, a quick warning. This word has 2 very different meanings. In historical movies, it means to put someone to death. We are not using that meaning today.
No, please don't use it that way at the office. In business and daily life, to execute means to carry out a plan, to finally take action and make an idea happen.
I struggle with this one. I am great at the planning phase. I will buy the planners, I will use color-coded pens, I will draw my maps, but when it's time to actually execute the plan, I am suddenly very tired and need a nap.
A relatable struggle for all of us. Let's look at some examples. Imagine you are planning a surprise party for your best friend. The decorations are bought, the cake is ordered. You could say, "We have a great plan. Now we just need to execute it without her finding out."
Or in a work context, your manager might say, the strategy looks perfect on paper, but we need our whole team to execute it smoothly. It's all about turning the thought into reality. All right, your turn. Repeat after me. Execute.
Excellent. Moving on to word number 4. Skeptical. Skeptical. Skeptical.
When you are skeptical, you have doubts. You don't easily believe what you are told. You need proof. Earlier, I mentioned telling a coworker about my creative project, and she responded with a very skeptical attitude.
Skepticism can be healthy, but it can also be exhausting if you surround yourself with people who doubt everything you do.
Absolutely. Think about walking through a market and seeing a sign that says guaranteed to make you lose 10 pounds in 1 day. You wouldn't just buy it immediately. You would say, I'm highly skeptical of those weight loss claims.
Or imagine your teenager comes home 3 hours late and says their car suddenly broke down, but then magically fixed itself. You cross your arms, look them in the eye, and say, "I am very skeptical of that story." You are politely saying, "I don't believe you." Your turn to try it out. Repeat after me. Skeptical. Spot on. Our fifth word is one of my absolute favorites in the English language. Momentum. Mo-men-tum. Momentum.
It sounds like a magic spell. Momentum is a physics word, really. It's the force that keeps an object moving once it has started. But we use it constantly to talk about our energy and our habits.
Think of pushing a heavy car that has broken down in the road. Getting it to move those first few inches requires everything you have. You are sweating, your legs are burning. But once the tires start rolling, it gets easier and easier to keep it moving. That forward force is momentum.
And building silent momentum is exactly what we talked about today. Doing the small, quiet work every day so that you don't lose your speed.
Let's use it in a sentence.
I studied English for 30 minutes every day this week, and I really don't want to break the momentum.
Or if you are cleaning your messy house. I finally cleaned the kitchen, and I used that momentum to vacuum the entire living room. Once you start, you don't want to stop. Give it a try. Repeat after me. Momentum.
Great energy. Now for word number 6. Unsolicited. Unsolicited. Unsolicited.
This is a longer one, but it is so incredibly useful. Unsolicited means something that was given to you even though you never asked for it. And 99% of the time, we use this word next to the word advice. Unsolicited advice.
Ah, yes, the absolute bane of our existence. You are minding your own business, doing something your own way, and a stranger or a distant relative walks up and tells you how to do it better.
Let me zoom in on a painful memory for a second. I was at the gym last month. I was holding these 5-pound weights, minding my own business, listening to my podcast. Suddenly, this huge guy with a towel around his neck steps directly into my personal space. He doesn't even say hello. He just says, "You're gripping those wrong. You're going to ruin your wrists." I just stared at him. I was so annoyed. I smiled this tight, fake smile and said, "Thanks, I'm fine."
The classic gym encounter. He gave you entirely unsolicited advice.
Exactly. I didn't ask him. I didn't make eye contact. You can use this in so many ways. I appreciate your concern, but I am not looking for unsolicited opinions on my relationship.
Or in a digital context. My inbox is completely full of unsolicited emails from companies trying to sell me software. It is an elegant way to say, I didn't ask for this. Let's hear you say it. Repeat after me. Unsolicited. Perfect. And that brings us to our 7th and final word of the tour. Liberating. Liberating.
Liberating means giving you a feeling of freedom. It's when a heavy weight is finally lifted off your shoulders and you can just breathe. We mentioned earlier that keeping your goals totally private can be a deeply liberating experience.
It really is. You no longer have to carry the burden of everyone else's expectations. You are completely free to just be yourself.
Think about a time when you were carrying a secret that was stressing you out and you finally told the truth. You could say, "Admitting that I made a mistake was surprisingly liberating."
Or maybe you have a smartphone addiction, like a lot of us do. You decide to turn off every single notification. No buzzes, no beeps, no red numbers. You could say, deleting social media from my phone was the most liberating thing I've done all year.
It frees your mind, it frees your calendar, and it frees you from worrying about what everyone else thinks. Let's finish strong. Repeat after me. Liberating.
You absolutely nailed it. That wraps up our word tour for today. Try to take just one of those words, maybe momentum or liberating, and use it in a conversation this week.
We have reached the end of the road today. I really hope this episode gave you a sense of relief. If you are washing the dishes right now, or if you're holding onto a pole on a crowded subway train, or even if you are still curled up in bed avoiding the morning alarm, thank you for spending this time with us.
We know how precious your time is, and we are so glad you chose to spend it building your English momentum with us. If you found some value in this conversation, if it made you feel a little less alone, or if you just learned a new word, please take 1 second to tap the like button and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps us keep the microphones turned on.
And if you are ready to keep learning right now, we have the perfect next step for you. Sometimes, to guard your goals and keep things private, you have to politely bend the truth. If this episode helped you, tap the next video on your screen to learn all about polite white lies in English. It will teach you how to protect your peace without sounding rude.
It's a great one. Don't forget to protect your seeds this week, everyone. Let your results do the talking.
This is Sarah.
And this is Alex.
You've been listening to the Peak English Podcast. Bye.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.
Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your Speak English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.